I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor here at Gold Derby, here with Wayne Dalglish and Gaston Morrison, stunt coordinators on Peacemaker. Guys, I love that Peacemaker is so unapologetically subversive. It's unique and it's so entertaining. And even more so, it swings between like irreverent and provocative and then heartfelt and introspective. And there's a lot of the success of the show has to do with your amazing stunt work. So I just wanted to know, first of all, Wayne, what do you most love about Peacemaker and being a part of the show?
Well, what I love about the show is like, I don't know what James and John and everybody brought to us as an audience. Like it's really interesting. He's kind of like not exactly like a hero, and it's all about like generalism, but like the little like nuances like within that I think are really cool, and it's like it's entertaining for me to watch. So I don't know, I'm a big fan.
And what about you, Gaston?
The action they brought to the table for us was really a lot of fun for us to put together and to execute. The comedy around it, I like that it was not over the top, yeah, a little bit over the top, but I mean, we had a lot of fun stuff to do. James and the rest of the team, the creative team, really did a great job on bringing a funny, action-oriented piece of work to the table. I thought, it was just a lot of fun to be around, be on.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So I want to talk about some of the really awesome fight sequences in the show. I think that is one of the real highlights because when we watch them, they come across really natural and organic. And I think sometimes we might forget how meticulously choreographed they need to be, obviously, so they look great and they're safe. So Wayne, what's the key on this show in getting those fight sequences right? Because there's so many of them and they really look pretty amazing.
Thank you. Well, we would do like multiple passes on each fight. So there's lots of rehearsal time, and there's when Gaston and I were scheduling like our rehearsals and everything, we would leave enough time for us to like explore. It's not like we did one pass and we were done. We would do multiple passes, and James was like overseeing it every step of the way, so he would kind of guide us. And I think with the collaboration of the actors who were like very willing to come in and train, and everybody felt like they were a part of it. So everybody felt like they were on the same page, and I feel like that was, I don't know, it was pretty helpful. But sorry, my dog is crying in the background.
I think we all have dog issues today.
I heard Kobe in the background as well.
What about you, Gaston?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Wayne that the time we were allotted and for rehearsals was critical, because we would have to set up the sequences, rehearse them, film them, take them back to James, tweak them, bring them back to the table, revamp them, and bring them. There was multiple times we would do the fight sequences and bring them back to the team to get approval. And without the time to be able to do that, it's just, because quite often on TV shows, we end up with compromised sequences because we don't have the time to explore them and to execute them as they should be, as they need to be done. But in this case, the studio was allowing us the ability to get a really great product and to be able to have the time and the money and the resources to put together these fight sequences that came across on the screen. So, I mean, really, yeah, that was the key to it, was to be able to have the time and the ability, the resources to be able to make this all happen.
Yeah, and it was like the team that that we assembled to kind of put that together as well. Like Spencer Thomas was John Cena's stunt double. He was very collaborative in choreography. There was our fight coordinator, Alex Kiskovich, who he's like doubles a lot of people or big names out there, and he's very creative and very good at his job. And then we had like Mig and Derek and Julia, and Joel and Raph and all of our riggers. Like we had a really solid team, and you could kind of give anybody on the team the freedom to like grab onto an idea and just go with it. And that was super helpful, having that.
Yeah.
Because like everybody kind of felt like they were in sync with the show and what the vibe was. Or
The
that was
team was definitely critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like when you think about the scale of the fight sequences in the finale, it's Cow or Never, which is a great title, by the way. Both Spencer and Alex have been submitted for any consideration as stunt performers on that particular episode. You both have been submitted as stunt coordinators for the show at large. That's how it works at the Emmys. Gaston, the scale involved in getting that finale right. I was watching it the second time. I usually watch the second time to kind of look at all the elements, and I couldn't believe the amount, just the scale of and the volume of stunts that were involved. When you got the script, can you take us back? Do you recall how you both, what was your reaction to, okay, shit, we've really got our work cut out for us now?
Well, to be absolutely honest, we kind of got a strip torn off us on our first pass of that budget, because they wanted us to do what we call a pattern for the show, and we budgeted all these man days and what was in the script. And shortly after that budget was submitted, we got a call to come into the office, and from there it was like, you guys, this isn't a feature film. We have to put this on the TV screen. We still need the money to do the rest of the stuff in the show. We're like, well, so I think it was actually on a bigger scale on the first pass of the script, but it had to be scaled back to a certain extent to kind of be able to come within some reasonable budget, because it was pretty steep the first pass on it. So yeah, it was interesting.
I like, Wayne, I like how you guys tried to get away with that, because if that's scaled back, I don't know what the hell you guys had come up with, but it sounds amazing.
Oh, I mean, that sequence was like kind of fun to mess with, because James would like write beat per beat kind of what it is that he needed, and then we would just think of like, okay, this is what he wants, and then what's the coolest thing we can bring to that. So I don't know. So there's like room for
yeah,
difference.
Is that common on a series or film for the creator / writer, director, whatever it may be, to give the stunt team a pretty specific prescribed idea of what they want? I mean, or is it depends on what the series is, that you might be really free to do something or not?
It depends.
It'll vary very much different in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's different directors that are like, hey, go for it. And then there's directors like James who are like, I want to see this person do this person do this person do that. And then within that, have fun,
Yeah. Is there a preference? Like, what way do you like working? Do you like James's way of being a bit more involved in the process, Wayne?
I feel like I learn more working for James than I have with a lot of other people, because I have to like learn exactly how he does it. And he's like really great at what he does. So for me, it's like a learning experience, where I've worked for other directors and they're just like, here's A and here's Z and go for it. I enjoy that too, but I don't know. So it's fun both ways.
Yeah.
And we can kind of get a feel of it off the script as well. In this case, James wrote it word for word, and in some cases it's a fight ensues. And from there we kind of, embellish on how to put together a fight. So this case is quite specific, and as Wayne says, it's really good to get that kind of guidance, because you understand where the fight needs to go and what the beats are. Sometimes you're really just guessing, throwing paint at the wall, seeing what sticks. and hoping something looks cool. And, and usually what we'll do is, because we like the action, we like the stunts, we'll go something exciting, something big, something, heavy hitting. And that's not always what the show's looking for. You know what I mean? So you got to get that feeling, that vibe for obviously the feel of the show is the most important, thing involved in putting this together.
Yeah. Gaston, I was just also thinking, there are two of you obviously who coordinate and supervise all the stunts on the show. What's the purpose of having both of you on this particular series? Is it just simply because it is such a stunt heavy project?
Well, originally, Wayne was actually hired to do the job. And as he was coming to Canada, I'm a Canadian coordinator. So I know the landscape a little bit better here. And I've coordinated my fair share of stuff as well. So Wayne invited me on board. So Wayne, being the creative genius behind a lot of the stuff, I'm there backing him up. And I'm also taking care of the manpower, and I'm taking care of the budgets, and so we worked really well in that regard. So I would have creative inputs into certain types of sequences, and he would have more creative input into other types of sequences, like the vehicles and stuff. I was a little more heavy-handed. The fights and stuff, Wayne was a little more heavy-handed. So it worked quite well, actually. And Wayne was great to work with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I feel the same way. It was cool because we both, Gaston also has like a fight background, so he could pull from either one, but he's very like specific with the car work, motorcycles, and I don't know, it's nice to have that type of, like then we can work with each other and play off of each other. So.
Yeah. Wayne, obviously you started off as a stunt performer. I'm sure, Gaston, that's just how it works in this industry. You start off slow, you start off, as a stunt performer, and then you move your way up. You've done motion capture work, fight choreography. I want to talk more about the fight choreography a bit before we move on, because the fight between Harcourt and Judo Master, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the two actors who were doing that work. Is that right, Wayne?
They did the majority of it. But we also had Julia and Derek, their doubles, help design the whole thing with Alex and I, and they did all like the gags. But or if we would turn around and go over someone's shoulder, they might step in here or there. But a lot of that was Jen and they came to rehearsals and they rehearsed it like crazy. And so what ended up in the edit was mostly the actors.
And we got really lucky with the cast on this, because they were all very athletic and very handy. And most of the cast would be very interested in the rehearsals and getting the fights down and being involved in as much of it as they could. So that's really handy. That's a really great thing to have when you're shooting this type of a project.
Yeah, it felt like both of them brought 110% that day. It was awesome to get to work with those guys with that fight.
Yeah,
it's such a highlight. It's such an awesome fight. There's so many, but I just recall that one in particular. I thought, God, that was so seamless. And did they really just not bother with the stunt crew that day? I doubt it, but it comes across so seamlessly.
That's awesome.
I want to talk about another thing that I usually ask stunt coordinators, and that's as an art form in your industry, it's so often plagued by injury and obviously physical health risks. That's one of the reasons why every production has to have a stunt team. Did that ever impact production on this particular show, Wayne, with injury and when something perhaps that doesn't go according to plan?
Well, like stunts, the nature of stunts are it's very physical, and we do everything we can to protect our performers, because in the long run, like what we do is we make movies, they're for entertainment, but like priority for us as stunt coordinators is that our performers are safe, and then everything after that is just bonus. Like it's great to have things look hard and but I don't know, keeping a safe set and trying to get away with no injuries or as minimal injuries as possible is what Gaston, I'm sure, and I both really try to do. And what, I don't know, through our careers, that's very important, is keeping a performer safe.
Absolutely. You know, we're making movies, and it's really the business of smoke and mirrors. So there's a lot of things we can do, you know, padding walls and cheating sort of dimensions of sets and setting things up in certain ways to sort of help us as best as we can to sort of keep everybody free of injury. So, you know, we'll budget and try to do all the things that we can within our power to do that and still get a cool action piece of you know, scenery.
Yeah, it always looks so good, and yet so much work has to be done to make sure that it's safe. And it's just really amazing that you're able to really toe that line very careful.
VFX helps us. VFX and set deck help us a lot with that, because there's a lot of things nowadays you can do where you don't have to do a stunt 100% of the way.
Right.
There's still some stunts that you definitely would do that, but like when John Cena and Crystal were, remember in the first episode where they're fighting in their underwear, the rocker chick versus Peacemaker, like when they were, so they had to do that whole fight, and like I don't know, it just makes it a lot easier now that we can like hide high dents on the floors and the walls, so everything that they hit has like that much padding to it.
Right.
But like most scenes you wouldn't do that. Like you would have them like just pad up underneath what they can, and then for specific wire gags or bigger stunts, then you would pad something. But so I don't know, it's like that fine line. But
I'm glad you raised that, because the underwear fight in the pilot, I just thought there's nowhere to hide here. There must be some post-viz work done by the amazing VFX team led by Betsy Patterson. And I guess what you're saying is that sometimes that's necessary when you can't use the smoke and mirrors that you would in camera. That's fascinating. I had no idea. Thanks for raising
that. And like Wayne says, you know, not only our entire stunt team that makes our lives possible and this product possible, but it's, you know, visual effects, it's costumes, it's set deck, it's construction. All those departments they all support us. Transportation, every one of them we lean on to get things done and to provide a safe working environment. There's costume cheats. We're putting pads in costumes. We're hiding stuff under costumes. Set deck, as we mentioned, we're, you know, and they work with the art department and construction to help build sets that we can adjust and we can put padding in. All these things are all things that help us do our jobs. And, you know, we owe a debt of gratitude to all these departments that step forward and help us in these endeavors.
Yeah, like Alex with all the breakaways, like the special effects stuff. I don't know, it just there's ways to like make it look nice, you know, like a wall can dent and like they can pop it back out and repeat and go again without actually smashing someone into a metal wall there. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of probably cool.
The show would be a very short production if that was what was really happening. People would be in hospital. My final question is about how stunt teams are now being so recognized by awards groups. Obviously at Gold Derby, this is our bread and butter, awards. Wayne, you won at the SAGs a few years ago for Wonder Woman. And then of course the Emmys have 2 categories, recognized stunts. Hopefully one day the Oscars will follow suit. I hope so. But because of all the smoke and mirrors, using that great term that Gaston raised earlier, so much of your work is invisible, and yet it's so great, don't you both agree? I'll probably go to you first, Gaston, that you're being recognized by awards groups. How much does that mean to you and also to the industry at large?
I mean, it's great for us and great as a community to recognize the hard work that we do. You know, there is some degree of the old school mentality of being the unsung heroes that kind of, you know, float behind the scenes. And, you know, there is a part of me that enjoys that kind of being behind the scenes and just kind of, you know, yeah, we're just here to make things happen invisibly, right? Magic happen. But at the same time, you know, we are moving into a new generation, and people deserve to be recognized for the efforts they put forth. And I mean, if every other department is being recognized for putting this product together, then it's not really fair to ignore certain departments. You know, it's, you know, it's a little bit of discrimination there, if you know what I'm saying. But it's just if everybody, if one department, if all these other departments are getting a fair recognition across the board, why shouldn't the stunt department as well? Because a very big contribution goes forth to these productions. So, you know, it's only reasonable.
Yeah. Final word to you, Wayne.
Oh, regarding that,
I think you won an award. You've already won a SAG. So
I think it would be cool, and I think maybe maybe I'm wrong, but I think one of the reasons maybe stunts wasn't recognized before is because they were supposed to be like doubling actors, and then you know you don't want to give away that stunt people do exist, and it's not the actor doing their own stunts all the time. Now some actors do, but yeah, I don't know. I think it is an art. I feel like I don't know. I think it is an art, so I think it should be recognized.
well, on that note, I hope that you are recognized soon. We see you on the Emmys red carpet in a couple of months. In the meantime, congratulations on some really strong work on Peacemaker, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with next on season 2.
Thank you, Robert. It was very
Thank you,
nice
Robert.